Excuse me. Happy Friday, everybody. Are we tagging people?
Hello. Yeah, go ahead. You know I don't know how to
Me
do
to
it.
do it? Oh.
You're the one that knows how to figure it out.
Then you talk.
All right, I will talk. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Good seeing a lot of you guys. We saw at the Gnayar annual party last night, or the virtual, what is it, a virtual mixer, virtual annual, or virtual holiday party, excuse me.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So that was a lot of fun yesterday. So awesome, everyone who attended that. That was great. Today we got a great show for you. We're gonna tackle another tough topic, and that's tough conversations that you have to have with your sellers. So we're gonna be dropping some serious knowledge today, and it's gonna be great. So stay tuned. It's gonna be a fun show, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you needed like a monster or something before this video.
Why?
Because I feel like your energy level is kind of like here when it's normally like
Now drink some
here. Yeah, maybe.
Coffee. No,
Hey
anyway.
guys. Hey Jess. I didn't
What's
see
up,
that.
Jessica? So tough conversations with sellers. These are always tough, but I gotta tell you what, we are professionals. And what's going on, Cynthia? When you're a
Cynthia.
professional, sometimes you have to do things that are difficult, and we just gotta do it.
Yeah.
No?
This, like, number 5, even though it is like we didn't put it as a number 1 priority, I think this one is one of the toughest just because it's slightly embarrassing
Yeah, it's
to
tough.
a certain extent.
And here's what we're talking about. Some of you probably already guessed it. We're talking about smells in houses.
Yep.
Or just
Cleanliness,
cleanliness.
Water.
I interviewed with a house that I'm going to be putting on the market, and he had kind of like, they weren't naked. They were art. They were pieces of art. Yeah, but it was like a woman's figure, but it was just like an outline. Like it wasn't.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
it's something that I'm like, hey, and he's like, oh, I didn't think it was that bad. I go, well, yeah, I got a picture. Some buyers might have little children with them. Whatever. It just might not be something. It might just turn them off and be something that they don't. So I did recommend that he take that down.
Yeah, I always, especially family photos, stuff like that, I always tell people to make the house generic because what's the number 1 thing the buyer is going to do? They're going to go right to the wall. Who lives here? And we all know that that is not necessarily the best thing. So trying to depersonalize it too. I think sometimes those conversations are hard when you have somebody who just has pictures everywhere and you're like, come on, you got to take that stuff down.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't subscribe to that. I know, they always say you should depersonalize and take all your family portraits down. I don't do that. I don't know. I don't tell my sellers to do that, and they seem to always sell. But I would agree if there's an excessive amount, if the whole wall is covered with a big mural of every family member, I would say, yeah, get rid of it.
I have told sellers that before, and they were like, no, I don't want to do it. I'm like, okay. And then we went and saw houses they wanted to buy, and they went directly to the photo of the family and then started laughing at me and said, you're right. That's exactly what buyers do. And I said, yes, it is.
Well, it's
to
because you
take your
told
photos
them.
down.
You planted that
No,
seed.
I did not plant that seed. That's not true. Everybody's curious. Humans are curious. It's a problem.
We're always curious. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it.
Oh, smells. We should really talk about smells because smells is hard.
Okay, pets, litter boxes,
Cigarettes.
yeah,
Yep.
coffee. Although no one gets offended by coffee smell.
I do. I don't like coffee smell.
Coffee breath is bad.
Yeah, coffee. Oh, no.
Corona.
Gross. Thanks.
Just kidding. Smells, I think it's tough. I like to just tell people, hey, if they smoke inside, and I'll ask them, I go, is there any chance you could smoke outside? I said, we're going to get a lot of negative feedback over this. You really probably shouldn't be smoking in the house while your house is for sale and things like that. It does hurt some buyers. But I just like to tell them, I say, hey, look, I'm not being judgmental or anything like that. Gail says weed. Yeah, cigarettes and weed.
I agree with that, Gail.
That's right. Well, we don't have that legal in Indiana yet, so I hope it doesn't smell like weed. But Michigan and Illinois, that is actually a weird thing.
Yeah.
And I did hear an Illinois agent put something on Facebook. He's like, yeah, we all know you have a weed drawer in your kitchen. We can all smell it or something like that. And I thought that was funny. So I did get a kick out of that. And I never thought about that, Hey, Dina.
Hey, Dina.
So, so I think, one, being direct and not being argumentative. And I would say this too.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, I would say, hey, you know what? It kind of smells like cigarettes in here. I would recommend either having the carpets professionally cleaned or, and I would ask them, is there any way you can smoke outside? You know, if it's a pet, I had a seller one time had a bunch of snakes, like a ton of snakes,
What?
like 80 of them. I mean, there's a lot. But I will tell you what, you didn't smell that they had a pet or anything like that. So they must have really kept up and kept it clean and things like that. But
did they have like a
snakes are
snake
tough
room?
one too. Yeah, they had it was a whole bedroom that was
Get outta
basically,
here.
it was all like shelves and cabinets, and it was real weird. It was cool, but
So did they have to put like a sign on the door that said there's snakes in here?
no, I told them
like...
to get rid of them. I said, you know
okay.
what?
Did he
they,
move them?
Yep, they
Okay,
brought them
good.
to a friend's.
'Cause I was gonna say, what
yeah,
the?
Yeah, because it was crazy. And I would be, you know, I'm not afraid of snakes or anything like that, but you know, they get out. You know, like I don't want you know
And
walking
there's
through
80.
someone.
Like
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, they had some venomous ones too. It's like, why do you even want that as a pet? Oh yeah. But hey, whatever. Hey, to each their own, right?
I guess on that one.
So yeah, you know, cigarettes I think is the most common, or cats. You know,
And
pet,
dogs.
Yeah,
Pet
yeah.
odors.
Yeah.
That's a big one. Hey, Craig.
Yep, and I just tell them, hey. I just tell them, hey, it smells like this in here. Is there anything we can do? You know, they used to have those like plug-in air freshener things that had a little fan in them. Those are great for vacant houses and stuff like that because they sometimes get what I call vacant house smell. Do you ever use that term?
Well,
vacant house
no,
smell?
I just say it's like closed up. It's just that closed up smell or whatever. I don't know.
Oh, I always say vacant house smell.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something to get the air circulating a little bit is always great.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we beat number 5 to death.
Yeah, I think so.
Number 4 is inspection responses. Talk to us about that. That doesn't sound hard. Doesn't sound complicated. Inspection response, easy, right?
Yeah, no. I think to this day, I've been in this business for 10 years now. To this day, I do not like doing inspection responses. I cannot say any realtor I've ever met that it is the best part of the transaction. I think most people agree it's the worst part of the transaction. Trying to have that conversation with either a buyer or seller, trying to keep them, you know, calm and okay, this is what we need to fix, appraisal issues, you know, stuff like that. It's not fun.
Yeah, maybe we should do it like Illinois, where the attorneys basically handle all the inspection responses
right?
and stuff. Man, that'd be so fun.
The attorneys like totally take deals, don't they? For the most part.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't hear that a lot out of Illinois. I don't do a lot in Illinois, but I don't know. I'm licensed there.
See, I'd have a problem with that though because it would be a control thing.
Yeah.
I like to control my deal.
I like letting the attorney control that part of it. That's fine with me.
I bet on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is
so
one
anyway.
thing I would probably give up. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think that's tough. And I think, what did they say, an ounce of prevention or something like that? Like here's what I think. I think when you first put a house on the market or when you first get an offer, I like to explain to my sellers, okay, this is what we're going to do. And how many sellers nowadays are like, I want to sell as is, Craig. And I go, okay, great. So I always ask this question. I said, so if you had to replace one $15 GFI outlet, you're telling me you wouldn't do it and you would let the sale fall apart? And they said, well, no, of course, Craig, I would just change the one outlet. I said, okay, then let's not just say as is. Let's just deal with the inspection and handle it, you know. And I always prep my sellers. Buyers are going to ask for stuff that's going to probably irritate you. It's probably going to ask for stuff that they shouldn't be asking for. I do that and then let them kind of. So I set that expectation, or I give them the expectation that it's going to be an irritating process a little bit, and then when it is, because it usually is, then at least they understand that better.
Yeah, I think if you
if you talk
about the financing options ahead of time and like what you can expect, and you're walking through the house, like if you know they're going to accept FHA, you need to walk through the house and say, okay, is there peeling paint anywhere? Do we have some handrails missing? That's the most stuff that they normally ding on now.
Yep.
Yeah, and GFIs. Outside of that, I wouldn't, but prep your seller if they don't want to do it. Like I had a home in Munster. They're like, we don't want to paint the outside of the house. We'll accept FHA. If we get an FHA or VA offer, we will do the scraping and painting, but we're not going to do it up front, right? Yep. So I said, okay, fine. We ended up getting a VA offer. They knew the expectations from the VA offer. They scraped and painted the house in the garage. So I think setting the expectations up front is really helpful when it comes to inspections. Like laying that groundwork when you're doing your initial listing presentation and then when you get the offer.
Definitely. Yeah, that definitely helps. So other inspection response type stuff for sellers, and here's a risky thing right now in our current market. And of course, always talk to your managing broker if you have any questions. Use this as good advice, but always bounce it off your managing broker. If you're not sure what to do. But I think, sometimes a seller will get hung up on one item or something like that. And a lot of times I like to break it down or just say, hey, can we give the buyer a credit for this stuff? I like credit's better because then you don't have to worry about if someone doesn't like the workmanship or any of that kind of stuff and let the buyer handle that. But of course, it is always up to your client.
Yeah, I was going to say, as long as there's not closing costs already involved, you have to be careful with that one.
Yeah, that's a tough one,
credit.
especially when you're dealing with appraisal issues and stuff too. Like right now, we seem to be pricing everything kind of high because the market's so hot. Mm-hmm. But once it starts to come back to, I don't know. Who knows? But ask good questions.
I was going to say, where were you going with that?
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, it was going nowhere, so I'm like, I would just squash it right there.
Nice.
Number 3. All right. Why hasn't my home sold in 36 hours? That's kind of a joke based on the market, but this also will be good advice for, when market time is back to what we would consider normal, like maybe 60, 70 days, something like that. Why hasn't my home sold? Well, I hate to tell you this, agents, but you priced it wrong. That's why the house isn't sold. Price solves everything.
Price, condition, location. Yes. So
no, condition, location doesn't matter. HUD houses, for instance, are usually in very rough shape.
Yeah.
They all sell. Location, it doesn't matter where a house is. Most of them sell. Now, it might not sell for as much as the owner wants for the house, but price. Here's the thing. I always tell people this. Whenever I'm doing my price, I always do it the same way. I said, if we put your house on the market for $1, what do you think would happen? And every seller is always going to say, there'll be a parade, there'll be a million showings, we get a ton of offers and everything. I say, okay, what if we price your house at $1 billion? What's going to happen? I said, no one's even going to look at it. Exactly. That's the simplest illustration for how important price is. So if the market isn't supporting the house, you can't move it. So that's why I say location is irrelevant. You can't move the house, and they bought it. So someone bought it.
No, but
condition, hold on, condition, no matter how bad the house is, someone will buy it. It's the market will only support a certain price.
But I think there are, so location, no, you can't change your location. But that's how I explain to sellers. It's location, condition, and price, right? So the location we can't change. He's correct on that. But the condition, depending upon what it is, if it's pet smells, if it's, the scraping and painting, if it's something that they can actually do that they have just been refusing to do, hey, I told you if we priced it at this, you needed to do X, Y, Z to the condition of the home, right? And you didn't do X, Y, Z, so now we need to price reduce. And I think that is what I normally do. You can change a condition of the house. Yes, you can.
Well, this is saying it's been on the market for 36 hours. Well, that I assume you've already priced it,
yes,
and you've already put it on the market. Now, if they didn't do all those things I asked them to do,
yeah,
and we still price it at that price, so that's what I'm going to tell them. And I always say you have to be very clear. Like even I don't like the term we made a price adjustment. Okay, a lot of old sales trainers would tell you we would never say a price reduction. We would just say we improved our price or we did a price adjustment or something. We all know what that means. We lowered the dang price. Just say lowered the price.
I use price improvement. Sorry.
I don't. What's going on, Jim?
Yeah, hey, Jim.
I don't. I just tell, because here's the thing. If you tell someone, hey, we want to have a price adjustment, your seller might be confused. I'm like, I don't know what the heck that means, or something like that.
I'll say to the seller it's a price reduction, but when I put it out on social media, I'm putting it out as a price improvement. Come on now. I
don't know. I think buyers are smarter than that. I don't think. And plus, usually on almost every platform, there's a little red down arrow or a green up arrow or something like that. So everyone knows what you did, So it's like, but I'm very clear with my sellers. I'll say, listen, and I used to hate when my seller called me and asked me to reduce the price, because then I know I didn't do my job. Like I should be asking them, hey, you need to lower your price, And if that's what it is, don't be offering stuff like open houses. Don't be offering stuff like that, because that's not going to get the house sold. If you didn't price it right, you got to price it. You got to fix the price.
Well, we've really been talking about number 2 then too.
Oh yeah.
Number 2 is price reduction.
Oh, yeah.
That's what.
Let's just move right into number 2, because I think
we're really going over it anyway.
Well, and I think in this dominant sellers market that we're in right now, it's price. It's all about price right now. I mean, sellers, they don't even have to condition. They could have interior walls.
Yeah, this market is way different than any market we've had. So, I'm talking when we have a normal market, the price reduction is a little bit more.
Yeah.
But we do have sellers right now that are, wanting to price things crazy because they know the market's so good, right? And they're willing to take the chance on the, if they get it under contract because a buyer's willing to pay for it, they're willing to see if the appraiser's going to appraise it.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of those right now, but...
Yeah, I always, and I will say this, when I list a house and I always tell my seller what I think the price should be, and then we list it. Usually I give them a range. If they're within 5% of my opinion or whatever, as long as I had an easy time pricing it. We all know sometimes you get one of those houses that's like there's no comparables. It's so difficult to price, and hopefully you're telling your seller, hey, look, there's no comps for your house. I hope we get lucky and get a cash buyer. If it's not going to happen, the appraisal, I don't know where they're going to find comps for that, but that's the appraiser's job, so they can figure that out.
Yeah, my team will come to me like, I need help comping this house. And I'm like, okay. And I put it in. I'm like, dang it, this is why you need help comping this house.
Yeah.
I'm having to go through RPR. I'm having to go like the assessor. I'm having to do like everything because it's like weird land and it's unincorporated and it's never been on the MLS before. They're the only owner. Yeah, super fun those are.
Yeah, those are tough. And but I think as long as you're open with your seller and you say, okay, look, here's the problem, here's what we're facing, here's what I think we should do, and stuff like that. But I also, again, when we get to price reductions with my sellers, I like to be very clear with them and say, look, it appears the market is not supporting our price. I recommend lowering today to X amount of dollars. Are you okay with that? And if they are, that prepared, price reduction form will be shot over to their email instantly. And if they are not okay with that, at least they never have to say, well, Craig, I don't know why my house didn't sell. Because they know, because I was telling them, hey, look, and sometimes I apologize, I overpriced your house, or I let us overprice the house, or something like that. I take some ownership, especially if they were like, what do you think it's worth, Craig? And I just price it and I'm wrong.
What? You just admitted that you're wrong sometimes?
I'm wrong all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm wrong all the time.
Yes, I like it.
I'm wrong about saying I was wrong a minute ago. That's for sure. No, I'm just kidding. I'm never wrong. Yeah, no, I'm always wrong. Mm-hmm. So price reductions, I like to be very clear. I'll never tell my seller we need to make a price adjustment. I will tell my seller we need to lower the price to X. And I always have a CMA ready for them. This is why I feel this way. Although now we almost don't have to. Like, we've been on the market 36 hours. We don't have an offer. We missed the target.
Oh my God, right?
Yeah, we missed it. We had 47 showings in 3 hours and we no offer. We messed up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a little crazy with that. But for me, price reductions, every 2 weeks I like to see at least 5,000, especially if
every 2 weeks. I know, right? That's the market now. It's like, oh, we got to lower this thing.
So if I can get it there, just to get it sold or whatever. And a lot of times, don't just give them the CMA, pull the feedback. What the agents are telling you that their clients are saying or what the agents are saying. Sometimes feedback helps with price reduction too.
Yeah, Mike Ferry is a great real estate trainer that I was in there. They coached me earlier on in my career. And one thing that they would always say on their script was they're kind of like their rule on price reductions and things like that, where if you're getting showings but no offers, you're within 5%, you're about 5% overpriced. And then if you're not even getting showings, you're at least 10%, so that's where I would target price reductions, like that. So
I agree.
So anyway, all right, we're going to move on to our number one topic. Go ahead, Hanson. What is it?
Counter offers.
Oh, I knew it was going to be counter offers.
Oh.
You asked me how I knew? It's written down on the paper right in front of me. Ha ha!
Counter offers. Ugh. Where do we?
Hey, Michelle?
I think that's second
Jeannie?
worst to
Joe?
inspection responses. I think it depends upon the people, what the counter offer is, if it's super detailed, if it's not. There's just a lot of factors that go into the counter offer, and it's the one place where we get to write whatever we want without checks and balances, because you don't have check marks that you're doing. You're just writing freehand whatever you're writing. So I think that's why it makes it a little more complicated, especially if you have an agent that doesn't have as much experience. Sometimes the counteroffer can be very intimidating.
Yeah. Counteroffers can be tough. They can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all you have to say about that?
That's it. They're tough.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. No, I think too, if you did a good job handling expectations in the beginning, like if, let's say, for instance, you priced it at the top of the market and weren't sure about the price, and then you didn't get a lot of showings, and you get an offer and it's low.
Yeah.
Let's say that's the simplest thing, because that's most of the time we're countering price. That's the reason we're countering. So if it comes in low and you told your seller, hey, look, let's just say you you're asking 200,000, but you told the seller maybe you should have been at 189.9. Let's say you get an offer at 182 or something like that. You might remind your seller of that conversation you had, and then say, okay, where would you like to counter? And then sometimes they're going to counter reasonable, sometimes they're not, whatever. At some point we have to work for our seller and do, but sometimes it's our job to educate the seller. Like, for instance, if it's become very clear that house is not going to sell for 200,000, I believe it's our duty and responsibility to educate our seller, tell them that very clearly. And I even back it up with a CMA. Like, okay, look, these are the houses that have closed recently. These 3 went under contract since we've been on the market, and they all closed in the high 180s. So I believe we missed the mark on this one. And I think as long as you're clear up front, and do that.
You can educate, but we all know that we educate, we do that, and you still have sellers that just are like, no, this is whatever. So fine. This is what I say. Okay, great. I work for you. It's, you are the boss ultimately, and we're going to write it up how you want. And then you just have to let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to.
Well, and sometimes I think in sales too, it is our job to sometimes protect our clients from themselves. Like if I always go back to motivation. Even Mike Ferry, like I mentioned earlier, they taught a lot of salesmanship, salespersonship, whatever. They taught a lot of sales techniques and sales training, because sometimes you have to do that. If it's clear that they're going to get 185 at best, and they have a nice 185 offer, no matter what you're priced at, if it's not going to, and there's no chance of it ever going for more, it's almost like we need to really educate and show our person that and remind them of their motivation. Why are you selling? You have to sell. Here's what it is. I don't know why we thought it was worth 200, but stuff like that. I'm just trying to use that as an example. I'll tell you what, I had another tough one where my seller, had lived in the same house for a long time, absolutely was against paying closing costs. Now, and we've all had sellers that do that. So I'm not paying, no one paid my closing costs, I'm not paying it.
Yes.
I said, realistically, why does it matter if you're going to get a check at the end of the day for, let's say you get a check for $185,000 when you're done, whether you paid closing costs or not is irrelevant if you get $185,000, so it's one of those things. I try to educate, and I had one that was tough because the seller didn't speak English, so I had to go through a translator, was a family member, and the family member wouldn't stand up to the owner, so it was like a weird scenario, and it was and we lost the buyer, and now we're facing a price reduction. So It's like, and I told them that was likely to happen, and that was a tough conversation to have because I knew they're not going to like me for saying that to them, and that sucks,
Yeah.
But I felt like I did my job. It's kind of like any job. There's always parts of it that aren't fun, right?
Yes, and everything we've just said, none of it is fun. That's, so you get paid the dollars for to do that stuff. And I feel like I wish sellers and buyers.
I like the smells. I love walking around the house like, what's that smell? Cigarettes and cats. Nice.
Oh, so gross.
I know.
But I think that this is some of the stuff that we do behind the scenes that people don't understand. That's really part of our job, I think. Cats and cigarettes.
Nice.
Good combo right there.
Don't let your cat smoke, people.
What?
It's PSA.
Uh-huh. All right. Well, we're losing all our viewers. I think we're back up to 8.
We just gained another one, so I'm crushing it with my jokes today.
With your cats and cigarettes.
Yep.
Whatever.
We'll call this one the Cats and Cigarettes Show.
Ew. I'm going to hashtag that when we get out of here. Hashtag cats and cigarettes.
That'd be awesome if that went viral, like that trended.
Oh, no. We have to tell them. So I went to put in hashtag Nicole and Craig Show, and it literally said Facebook recognized the hashtag and said we had less than 1,000 posts. But I thought that was super cool for today.
That's cool. That is cool.
So that is
So it's official, everyone. We made it. We're big time now.
We have fewer than 1,000 posts for the hashtag on.
Could be worse talking points.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, Brad? All right. Well, anyway, I think that's our Friday show for today. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
We'll see you guys next Friday, right? Oh, wait, no. You're going to be gone, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to be gone next Friday.
Boo. All right, well, let me see if I can get a co-host.
Yeah, you can do a guest host.
Yeah.
Yeah.
mix it up a little bit, which this one's supposed to be getting us guests anyway once a month, but somebody's a little derelict in their duty there. So, but yeah, so I'll try to find a co-host so we can have our show.
Did you catch that?
Next Friday. I did catch that.
Subtle
yes.
eye roll.
That was super subtle. It was a head roll? That was weird
a big
looking.
one.
You should go back and look at that again. It's weird.
Okay. Anyway, it's enough.
All right, so I'll have a
on
guest
board.
speaker next week. I'll reach out, see if we can get a guest speaker. We'll go
All
from
right.
there.
Thanks, everyone. Have a
Have a
great
good
week.
weekend.